welcome to another night of sporting splendour with Monday night's edition of Sport on 5 in Super Bowl week here on 5. My name is Sophie Blake and I'll be with you from now till 6 this morning with a feast of kickboxing plus FIM, Supercross and football from Argentina and Holland. Just before we tuck into tonight's fare, a quick look ahead to the rest of the week. Tomorrow night there's world-class boxing with the fight of the week. That's followed by NHL ice hockey and the game between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Toronto Maple Leafs, plus NHL replay. Wednesday, and there's more from Nick Horlin and Russell Chamberlain and the NHL game between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Washington Capitals. That's followed by more NHL action in replay and finally half an hour of power sport madness in fast tracks. Thursday night is football night, kicking off with Jonathan Pearce. That's followed by 5 hours of action, starting with the game of the week from Holland and PSV versus Vitesse. Then we're off to Argentina for the Torneo de Verano and Boca Juniors versus San Lorenzo. And we finish with River Plate versus Racing Club and Motorsport Mundial. And on Sunday, it's only Super Bowl 37, only the greatest show on earth, with the whole game plus the halftime show live and direct from San Diego with Mark Webster and Mike Carlson at the helm. You're so spoilt. Back to tonight, and without further ado, now is the time a night of combat brings you the best in kickboxing and a top-class bill with the best fighters in Europe.
Now is the time, Night of Combat, in association with Asian Express, Britain's #1 Asian newspaper.
Good evening and welcome to Football Night here on Sport on 5. Many thanks to Jonathan and his guests. My name is Sophie Blake and it's Super Bowl week in case you hadn't noticed. The countdown continues and there's only 47 hours to go to the Super Bowl 37 live on 5. You can see the whole game live plus all the pre-game ceremonials and halftime show free, yes free, right here on 5 with Mark Webster and Mike Carlson plus celebrity guests. And there will be many dropping in to see Mr. Webster in his little pitch-side home from home in the Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. Lucky sod. But you don't have to wait till then to catch the best here on 5. Tonight's football action sees Boca take on San Lorenzo and River take on Racing in our special season of games from Argentina's Torneo de Verano. And we check out the latest motor news in Motorsport Mundial. But before that, a look ahead to next week's fixtures from Argentina here on 5. On Sunday, reigning league champions Independiente take on Buenos Aires rivals San Lorenzo in Mar del Plata. Then on Monday, Mendoza, two of the most famous teams in Argentina, clash. Yep, it's Boca Juniors versus River Plate. Should be a spicy and tempting game. Then next Thursday, we're back to Mar del Plata for Independiente again as they take on mighty Boca Juniors for a friendly match. All in all, a superb summer tournament from the Southern Hemisphere, so make sure you are tuned into 5 next week. Right now, though, we go Dutch with PSV versus Vitesse from the Dutch Eredivisie. The whole game now from the Philips Stadion in Eindhoven. Over to your host, Tim Capel. Good evening and welcome to another night of football from Sport on 5. Many thanks to Jonathan and the boys. The great man will be back next week with the best informed half hour of football on TV. My name is Sophie Blake and for the next 5 hours we feature non-stop action from the Dutch Eredivisie between NAC and Feyenoord, plus 2 games from Argentina with Independiente versus Boca Juniors and San Lorenzo versus Independiente. Just before we get stuck into that lot, a note for your diaries. Following the end of the NFL season, Sunday night now becomes NHL night. And what a game to start with. It's the NHL All-Star Game from Florida with the best ice hockey players all on one rink. Nick Horlin and Russell Chamberlain will be there to take you through the night. Don't forget later tonight, football from Argentina. But first, we're off to Holland and the game of the week from the Dutch Eredivisie with NAC Breda versus Feyenoord. Tim Capel describes the action.
You're watching 5 as we bring you a night of sport.
Good evening and welcome to Sport on 5 with me, Sophie Blake. Later on there's Sunshine Tour Golf, football from Argentina and the Winter X Games. But we start tonight with boxing and one of the greatest fights of all time. Certainly one of the greatest upsets in sporting history. It's 1974, it's the early morning in Kinshasa, Zaire, and 32-year-old former champion Muhammad Ali is about to face the man that everyone thought was unbeatable, 25-year-old George Foreman. Only months before, Foreman had destroyed the great Joe Frazier in only 3 rounds. What you're about to see made sporting history.
I'm going to get my title back. I'm going to completely outclass this man tonight. I'm going to be too fast on my feet. I'm going to stick him, rip him up, cut him up, bruise him up, outpoint him. I might TKO him, might knock him out cold, or maybe I'll win on a big decision. I'm not going to predict the accurate outcome because it puts me on the spot and I try to fulfill it and it throws me off. But I plan to get him.
You're watching 5 as we begin a night of sport now with boxing.
Hello and welcome to Sport on 5 this Tuesday night. Coming up shortly, Sunshine Tour Golf from South Africa, Winter X Games, European kite surfing and football from Argentina with Boca Juniors versus Racing Club. But first and briefly, a reminder that tomorrow night the boys are back in town with ice hockey moving to Sundays and Wednesdays now that the NFL season is over. And tomorrow night it's the Toronto Maple Leafs at the Chicago Blackhawks, followed by NHL replay and fast tracks. Thursday is football night with Jonathan Pierce, Ajax versus Feyenoord from Holland and the Torneos de Verano from Argentina with Independiente versus San Lorenzo. But on with tonight and time for boxing and the fight of the week. The featured fight is a super middleweight bout between Charles Brewer and Etienne Whittaker. Welcome to another huge dose of sporting action here on 5. Coming up, there's USPGA Golf, NASCAR and the FIM World Supercross Grand Prix, plus football from Argentina and Holland. But first, a look ahead to the rest of the week. Tomorrow night is fight night with kickboxing and boxing with the fight of the week. Then there's golf from the Sunshine Tour plus Winter X Games, Motorsport Mundial and football from Argentina with Independiente versus Racing Club. Wednesday night we join Nick Horlin and Russell Chamberlain for NHL Ice Hockey and the Boston Bruins at the Carolina Hurricanes. That's followed by NHL Replay and the latest edition of Fast Tracks. Then on Thursday it's 5's football night followed by a rerun of the UEFA Cup 4th round first leg between Auxerre and Liverpool. Plus the games of the week from Holland and Argentina with AZ Alkmaar versus Feyenoord and Boca Juniors versus Nueva Chicago. Plus all the highlights from the Torneo Clausura. But on to the action now, and we start with the USPGA Golf and the Buick Invitational from California. NASCAR in an hour, don't go away. More USPGA next week. Coming up later, FIM Supercross plus footy from Argentina and Holland. But now it's time for NASCAR and the coolest 300 from the Busch Series in San Diego. welcome to Sport on 5. I'm Sophie Blake, and this evening we check out golf from the USPGA. In just under an hour's time, there's NASCAR, followed by FIM European Seniors Golf and the World Wakeboarding Championships. But before that, a lot of time to see what's on this week on 5. Tomorrow night there's more kickboxing, followed by boxing and the fight of the week with Layla Ali in action. After that there's Sunshine Golf, followed by Winter X Games and Argentinian football. Wednesday night, and we join Nick Horlin and Russell Chamberlain for NHL Ice Hockey with the Buffalo Sabres at the Washington Capitals. That's followed by NHL Replay and the latest edition of Fast Tracks. Then on Thursday it's Fives football night, followed by the games of the week from Holland and Argentina with Utrecht versus Ajax taking top billing. Plus a Five football replay with a reminder of better days at Ellen Road and one of their highly entertaining forays into Europe under David O'Leary. That's Troyes versus Leeds from 2001. Loads to look forward to then. Don't forget, in under an hour, NASCAR from North Carolina, but time now for USPGA Golf and the Nissan Open from California. Good evening, I'm Sophie Blake and I'll be your host from now until 6 for Sport on 5. Helmets on for fight night with kickboxing, boxing, golf from South Africa and the Winter X Games, plus football from Argentina. But before that, not time for a quick look forward. Tomorrow night we join Nick Horlin and Russell Chamberlain for NHL Ice Hockey with the Buffalo Sabres at the Washington Capitals. That's followed by NHL Replay and the latest edition of Fast Tracks. Then on Thursday it's Fives football night, followed by the games of the week from Holland and Argentina with Utrecht versus Ajax taking top billing. Plus a Five football replay with a reminder of better days at Ellen Road and one of their highly entertaining forays into Europe under David O'Leary. That's Troyes versus Leeds from 2001. Coming up, boxing with Layla Ali in action and later Sunshine Tour Golf. But next night it's time for Night of Combat with kickboxing. See you in an hour.
You're watching 5 as we begin a night of sport.
Welcome to Sport on 5 with me, Sophie Blake, and 6 hours of world-class sporting action. Kickboxing and World Championship Boxing coming up shortly, but before that, time for a quick look forward. Tomorrow night, there's NHL Ice Hockey with the Tampa Bay Lightning at the Detroit Red Wings. That's followed by NHL Replay and Fast Tracks with the latest in power sports action. On Thursday, there's Jonathan Pierce's football night, followed by the Dutch game of the week, Herenveen versus PSV, and from Argentina, the top game from the Torneo Apertura, Boca Juniors versus Banfield, plus highlights from the other fixtures of the weekend, and a bonus replay of the CIS Scottish Cup semi-final between Celtic and Dundee United. And now we begin with a fight fest known as Now is the Time Night of Combat, and the very best of Europe's kickboxers in action. See you in an hour for World Championship Boxing.
Now is the time, Night of Combat, in association with GWS Gandhi Wine Supply.